How many extras was there? Is it too far gone? Hey, welcome, Miles. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thought it'd be fun to do a stream on the Last of Us Remake, because it's been so damn long since I streamed the original Last of Us. Yeah, and of course, this game actually finally got a TV show this year. So yeah, which was long overdue. People will be pissed when season 2. People will be pissed when season 2 comes out. You know what? I'm gonna quit that. Should I equip it? Actually, you know what? I think I'll just keep the normal skin on. Understandable. If it's your favorite book, then, you know, you're gonna want to read it. I guess it'll be very light, just because, you know, we got people watching here, and, you know, it's just gonna be a fun little stream. You see me stream the original version of this game before, maybe 2 or 3 years ago, because I think I did a whole long play on it. I don't know if I did a long play. I haven't done a long play on this remake. I think it was the remaster I did a long play on. I haven't done the remake yet. This is a remake, a full-on new engine, new graphics. Like, look at this. And now there's a TV show. And the TV show is got 27 Emmy nominations already, and I'm like, Jesus. I watched the.
One-line review of Professor Challenger's stories and talked about the Blind Dog. I never gave the guts.
Interesting, yeah. It's kind of interesting realizations you can kind of find recently. Yo, Miles, you gonna watch Last Voyage of Demeter when that comes out? Which seems to be a very interesting adaptation that they're going to do on Captain's Log from Dracula. It looks really good. Good director, good writer too. Looks like it'll be decent. Good actor as Dracula too. Apparently it's really good too, so yeah, I might go see that. Last Voyage of the Demeter.
I don't see too many movies these days.
Yeah. Apparently, of course, Demeter is Universal, which is, and it's actually going back to, you know, horror and stuff like that, and stuff, which is pretty cool, because we had The Invisible Man in 2020, which was great. And next year, I think it is, we're getting a Universal Monsters movie from Radio Silence, which is pretty cool. We don't know what it's going to be. I'm kind of thinking it'll be the Wolfman. I have very high suspicions that it'll be the Wolfman.
Uncle Tommy, what time is it?
I need to talk to your dad now. Stop.
Which of all the Universal monster movies, like those classics, the Wolfman was the best one. So imagine a good modern take on the Wolfman. Be awesome. I don't know. I forget if there was even there's a Hammer version. Oof. All that motion blur. I forget if there was a Hammer version, but yeah.
My personal favorite is Creature from the Black Lagoon.
That's a good one. I really like Creatures. Creatures are classic. Bride of Frankenstein, of course, is classic. Frankenstein, not necessarily a good representation of the book, but it's a cool thing as its own thing, and it still is pretty out there for its time, because nothing was that shocking when it came out. So it is very important. It still looks like there's like a little bit of motion blur. It still looks like it to me. Well, I'm not going to reduce the gore. Alright, so rendered at...
Also secured a copy of the 1,818 text of Frankenstein. We'll make an effort to read it in the 1,831 next week.
Holy shit. That is a horrible performance mode. Just to scale the visible area.
I was gonna say I'll be back.
Alright, mother.
And then when we come back, if you want to watch Insidious, we will.
Alright.
Okay.
I'm playing some Last of Us right now.
Okay.
Yeah, Frankenstein's pretty good. Invisible Man's a pretty good adaptation, but they take it a more comedic route. A lot of people think of it as a horror film. I don't really think it's a horror movie, but, to each their own. Yeah, so just excuse all this motion blur. Which is, sucky. I've played this before, so if you really want to read all this text, then just pause the video. Jeez, spent good stream already. Spent a ton of minutes in the settings. I went and saw Oppenheimer and Barbie recently. Those were fun. Oppenheimer's not fun. It's a pretty good movie. I also saw Talk to Me recently. Yeah.
Dad?
But then again, you gotta take it from the context of the 30s. In the 30s, if they made the exact book in the 30s, it would have been really shocking to that audience. They weren't ready yet. Plus, it's decent as its own thing. Now, if you want to watch a much more serious take on Frankenstein, watch the Hammer movie series, especially the fourth one. Martin Scorsese is really into that one. Or watch Kenneth Branagh's Mary Shelley's Frankenstein from the 90s, which... and maybe watch Del Toro's version when that comes out, because he's very... that kind of character is his kind of thing. Although when it comes to 30s Frankenstein, I prefer the sequels. I'll be honest, I prefer Bride and Son. Because Bride, kind of has more scenes from the book and kind of has more of the sympathy. Because the creature's still very sympathetic in the 30s movie, but it's really Bride where he actually got more of it right. And then Son of Frankenstein, you know, is classic in its own right.
Where is he?
I remember, like, the other crazier sequels.
Remember seeing the movies 1 million years ago. May need to check out Bride someday.
Did anyone come in here?
No, come in here.
Don't go near the door.
But yeah, Brian's much more closer to the book, him learning to talk, him forcing Dr. Frankenstein to make a bride. The bride, of course, being horrified of him, like... Like, Bride of Frankenstein, like the 30s movie has some of the scenes from the book, but... What you plan to read it? Honestly, I read all his stories. That's one of his better collections. That's one of his last, like, page to page to page, really good one. Because Bizarre Bad Dreams is pretty good too, but there is some stories in Bizarre Bad Dreams where I'm like, it was okay. Although Bizarre Bad Dreams had Mile 81, that was a classic. Just N actually had a Marvel comic. That's the only adaptation there is of it. It's a Marvel comic.
Hey, Logan.
N is also in the Lovecraft universe, actually. It's that of course, along with the Dark Tower books, are what connects his books to the Lovecraft mythos. Go away.
What?
Go. I'm on stream right now, okay?
Oh, hi.
Okay.
Hi, Logan.
Okay.
I'm your sister.
I'm on stream right now.
I'm your sister.
Alright. Sorry, it was my sister. But yeah, just Under Sunset, it's one of the better collections of his. The best collection of his being Night Shift, because, you know what, let me pause this, because this is just more of me a fooling around kind of stream. Because Night Shift, let me read all this list. Because it is still to this day probably back-to-back the best.
I could probably read it in an hour and a half.
Probably could. But yeah, I'd honestly read them all back front to back. It's just worth it. But yeah, my favorite collection of Kings is his first collection, Night Shift, because it has Jerusalem's Lot, the prequel to Salem's Lot, amazing. Graveyard Shift, terrifying classic. Night Surf, which was the basis for The Stand, terrifying. I Am the Doorway, which is probably my favorite King story overall, just really bizarre. The Mangler had a Robert Englund movie, but the story is so good. The Boogeyman just had a movie which was shockingly really good, horrifying even, and the story is even scarier. Alrighty. Gray Matter, that's the first appearance of it in any of his books. The first appearance of it, or form of it. Great story. One of the scariest twist endings. Battleground is Toy Story before Toy Story. Trucks, which got adapted into the only movie that King ever directed, called Maximum Overdrive. Let's just say it works only as a short story. There's been 2 movies, Maximum Overdrive and Trucks. It only works as a story. Sometimes they come back. Of course, you know, classic vampire tales. Strawberry Spring, very eerie. The Ledge. I remember that one very well. It's a dark one. That one got adapted into Cat's Eye. I think it's a second story. Lawnmower Man. Great story. Good Marvel comic too. But terrible movie. Quitters Incorporated, which was adapted into the first story in Cat's Eye, basically just watch Cat's Eye. I Know What You Need. I don't remember that one very well. Children of the Corn, everyone knows the premise, but the story is the best version of it. And the last rung on the ladder, very sad, very, very sad story. The Man Who Loved Flowers, very dark, dark twist. One for the Road, which is a sequel to Salem's Lot, so kind of a bookend. And then The Woman in the Room, which is a very dark, twisted ending. And that's basically Night Shift. It's the best one. Skeleton Crew is the second best one, but it has some clunkers in there. But the clunkers are like really short, so like that's the English short story collections. Is even if there's a clunker, it's like so short that it's like a non-issue. Like Night Shift, as I said, I Know What You Need. I don't even remember what the hell that one's even about, but I don't remember it being bad. That's the thing. So it's not really a clunker, I'd say. Just because I don't remember doesn't mean it's bad.
Didn't Jimmy work in the city?
That's right, indeed. Fine, trust me.
Alright.
See what they need.
I think his worst short story collection is probably Bizarre Bad Dreams. It's very good, though. It's still very good. It's his weakest, so it doesn't mean it's bad. Novella collections, pretty much all of them are good. I haven't read that new one, though, that If It Bleeds. It's been out like a couple of years, but I haven't read that one. Still need to read it because it's the fifth Holly Gibney book's in there, and Mr. Harrigan's Phone is getting a movie by Mike Flanagan, I think it was. It was either him or... Was it Mr. Harrigan's Phone? I forget. No, Mr. Harrigan's Phone was adapted into Netflix recently. What's the one I can't think of that's getting a movie? If It Bleeds. I know the main story is not getting a movie. Rat isn't getting a movie. What the hell is the other one called? I can't remember. Jesus. Like the Old Man on the Porch or something? I don't remember. I missed on what I said. I was basically just telling you about King's short story collections. What one's good, what one's bad. None of them are bad, by the way. Actually, Bizarre Bad Dreams is probably the second weakest, because I just realized Nightmare and Dreamscapes has some clunkers in it. Again, some out of like 30 stories, so it's like very good still. Honestly, King's short story material kind of actually works pretty well as movies most of the time. Some of them got adapted recently into Creepshow, which I just finished watching the TV series. Very good. And the most recent adaptation was The Boogeyman, which was actually in theaters and was very good.
I'm here, baby. I'm here, baby. What is it?
My leg hurts.
How bad?
It's bad.
We're gonna need to run.
Second best short story collection I've read is from King's son Joe Hill, 20th Century Ghost. That one's a very solid classic. Very beautiful graphics, holy damn. Good reflection, stuff like that.
No, sir. Look at me, baby.
I remember watching the animated comic of Ant-Man a long ago. I think I liked it.
Yeah, that was a cool animated comic.
Get back! There's too many of them!
Reading the print Marvel comics, very good too. Because Marvel, for a little while, adapted some of King's books. They adapted Three They adapted 3 of the Dark Tower books with the short story, and they adapted the entirety of The Stand, which is the most accurate version of The Stand there is, which is the Marvel comics. So, if there's a good King book, it's probably for visual format, it's probably a better comic adaptation than there is a movie. So Dark Tower doesn't have any good movie, so the comic, which is unfinished, is the only good adaptation of the story. Well, at least the first, at least book 4, book 1, book 2. Very, unfortunately, an unfinished comic due to licensing and shit. I think the Talisman had a comic that was very good, but it only got like 6 issues, and they only adapted, they didn't even get to the other world yet. So it's not even really worth reading because, it ends so fast. The unfortunate part is, again, all the best adaptations are comic books, but they get canceled easily, or they end fast. Like, Dark Tower is never explicitly canceled. It just never continued. Like, they never did the Wastelands or Wolves of the Kala or Song of Susanna or the Dark Tower or Winds of the Keyhole or any of those. They only made it to they did Wizard and Glass, Will Sisters Valeria, the Gunslinger, and I think they did the entirety of the Drawing of the Three, and that's it. Because now I think it's Gallery that has the rights to the Tower comics. Stan comics are finished; those are all finished. But there's also a okay 90s show and a very good 2020s show. So there's many ways to enjoy The Stand. No. I think a lot of people adapt King because he does a good job at explaining. So it's a lot easier to put him in a visual format. And his books are about character work and stuff like that, and the atmosphere and the horror. Yeah, comics. There's a lot of great comics of tons of stuff out there. All the Alien expanded universe novels, or all the Star Wars expanded universe novels, instead of getting movies or shows like comic books. Like the Vader comic, very good. And I was yeah. Looking forward to Ahsoka. That's gonna be pretty good, isn't it? Dave Filoni, Jon Favreau, everybody. It'll be I think it'll be the last show, and then it'll be the movie. I don't know if Mando season 4 will be coming. I think it'll be the movie, and then that'll be it for the Dave Filoni, Jon Favreau, Star Wars, expanded universe shows. And then it'll just be Andor and the other shit. I only really want to watch Andor. Yeah. Yeah, and you'll definitely want to read all those Thrawn books before Ahsoka's out, so that you're all caught up with General Thrawn's return. Does Mandalorian season 3 set that all up? Set it all up like, oh, Moff Gideon's not the big bad anymore. General Thrawn is back. But Moff Gideon was the big bad of the show still. They never showed Thrawn, and now the trailers for Ahsoka, they show one of the Jedi from some of the books and Clone Wars. The only Star Wars movie I'm looking forward to is The Dawn of the Jedi, because that actually sounds like it'll be pretty good. And there's a lot of material out there, plus good director behind it, James Mangold. I think it's going to be the Star Wars movie.
into the new continuity.
Yeah, actually, what they're doing is, from what I heard, Ahsoka, it's gonna. Well, Rebels already kind of showed this, but Ahsoka's gonna delve more into this. There's time travel. So time travel could mean that there's a branching pathways and stuff. So that means that the books 7, 8, 9 and the movie 7, 8, 9 could coexist
Yeah, they have to go to hit send.
as a multiverse.
Look, I managed.
So there's no definitive origin, but there's no definitive end either. Like, Super Star Wars on the SNES could be canon, for God's sake. Well, see, it's like they kind of already been slowly incorporating the expanded universe into the shows and stuff, because the Mandalorian, he has that weapon that Boba Fett has in the holiday special. Like he has the super laser.
Can't say how long.
And the Darksaber was in like the old books before the Clone Wars. Or was it introduced in the Clone Wars, or was it the Rebels? I forget. You know, I've seen all these things. I just mix them up easy. Because they're doing the Rey Skywalker movie. I'm like, okay, that's fine. That's fine. It's gonna be like the new Jedi Order. It's gonna be a one-off. Instead of being Star Wars 10, it's just a one-off. Dawn of the Jedi is the only one I'm looking forward to, because see, a lot of them are getting canceled or delayed or taken off. Like Rogue Squadron just got canceled. And that could have been a cool movie. Don't think it would have been good, because Patty Jenkins was the director. But I feel like it could have been okay. Dawn of the Jedi I have hope for. I have hope for Dawn of the Jedi, and I think it'll still happen. Taika Waititi's movie is definitely not going to happen at this point.
That's the problem with taking in so much content. It all gets mixed together as one confused whole.
Yeah. The thing with Star Wars, though, is really, there's 9 core movies, there's 2 spin-off movies, and then there's a ton of shows, and then a ton of books, and then a ton of video games that are all canon. And then some of which that are not canon, but may be canon, too. Like, who the hell knows? It's been like this. A lot of people blame Disney for all this. Disney just recorded the entire original expanded universe. But let's be real, George Lucas was the starter of choosing what's canon and what's not canon. And if it's not, and if he chose that it was just randomly not canon one day, then it was just randomly not canon one day. Like Andy Tarkovsky's The Clone Wars, that was how we got introduced to Grievous. That was how we got introduced to like a ton of things. There's a ton of things introduced in that, and Lucas just deemed it not canon one day randomly. So really, what's canon? So really, it doesn't matter what's canon and what's not canon. It's just whatever the hell you want to enjoy. Me personally, I see whatever they say is canon as canon, because I'm like, okay, if that's gonna be. I haven't been listening to any music lately. I've actually been going back and buying CDs. I'm thinking of doing a CD collection video. I've been. Wait, what have I been listening to lately? I've been listening to like fucking. Listen to every Metallica CD. Because most Metallica CDs, because I have Kill 'Em All, Ride the Lightning, Master Puppets, 598, and Justice for All, self-titled, The Blacklist, and 72 Seasons. It's been. I've been listening to some of that. For new bands, I've been listening to Motionless in White. Pretty cool. I listened to every soundtrack by Mick Gordon recently. Mick Gordon. Sun Ra? Nice. I've heard of them before. I listened to every soundtrack by Mick Gordon. And the cool thing about Mick Gordon is, I'm going to pause this because, Mick Gordon's something I'm kind of find interesting, is that he's a composer of music for video games mainly, but he also helps co-write stuff on heavy metal albums and electronic albums and stuff like that. But what's really cool about his music is how he blends his music. It's like he has a guitar riff in mind, and then he's like, okay, let's go to the synthesizer, but let's have this really distorted synthesizer, so it's like a thicker sound. So you already have a very thick sound, but he's like, oh wait, we can do more with this. So some of his music, he used glass as samplings, but he also uses a chainsaw, a lawnmower, and I think a dishwasher. And he puts that all in, he mixes it all in, like the chainsaw, there's one track on his Doom soundtrack where he puts a chainsaw and matches with the guitar riff, so it has a very buzzy effect. It's like that's very thicker sounding or whatever, and that's kind of cool because the electric guitar itself, when you turn it. Yeah, it's basically that kind of thing. It's basically that kind of thing, or what they do with sampling nowadays or whatever. It's kind of cool or whatever. Like how Mick Gordon does his music. It's just looking up a video. It's really neat. Especially the main theme of the Doom soundtrack. He put a lawnmower in or whatever, so it's like. So it's like. So the startup noise is all blended in or whatever. I'm like, stuff you could do. Make music out of anything. Because really, if you think about it, we're making music out of strings, and we're making music out of things we bang. Well, bang, not that kind of way, but we make music out of anything. Nowadays, there's freaking pop artists, and they make music out of doing you can make music out of anything. Whatever. Yeah. I've been collecting CDs. I got a Chimera CD, got Rammstein, got Queensryche, got more Rammstein, stuff like that. Perfect Circle, Tool, Marilyn Manson, Slayer. I got most Metallica CDs. I'm currently trying to collect every goddamn Metallica CD because I got myself my own player recently, my own portable. And it just sounds great. Just good stuff.
Shots count. Alright, Texas. Who's me up?
Yeah. I've mainly been watching a lot of movies. I also watched some TV recently, too, which I don't really watch much streaming shows, but I actually recently partake in Creepshow, of course, but also watched Invincible, and I watched The Boys, and I greatly like those. I really like The Boys especially, just very good blend of humor and satire with something kind of sinister, very sinister undertones, because, it's superheroes that are evil and stuff, and a guy that wants to kill them all. But even the guy who wants to kill the evil heroes, he's not really a particularly good guy either. There is no particularly great guy either.
I have mostly been watching a lot of King of the Hill. Probably my favorite animated series. It's hilarious.
I never got into it. I've wanted to get into it. I just never have. I watched the new season, the episodes they put out of Futurama. The new episodes are decent. Comes to animated series, I really like Masters of the Universe, which are doing a new live action movie of. Now that Barbie is a huge, huge hit. Barbie's been the hugest hit since Avengers Endgame came out. Well, I guess since Avatar The Way of Water came out, because I know that was a big hit too. But yeah, Hasbro's doing a movie. Okay, you're gonna find this really funny because you probably haven't even heard about all this. Hasbro's doing a movie on a ton of their products. Barney, of course, was already confirmed, and Hot Wheels was confirmed a long time ago. And the premises of those sound pretty interesting. But they're also doing a movie on Polly Pocket, Rock'em Sock'em Robots, American Girl, The Friggin' Magic 8 Ball's getting a movie, Major Matt Nelson, Uno, Wishbone, Matchbox, Thomas and Friends, Viewmaster, and friggin' Christmas Balloon. Oh, and Gregory the Vampire Bat. Who wants Christmas Balloon or Viewmaster or friggin' Magic 8 Ball? Like, what's Magic 8 Ball gonna be? Ouija, the movie? We seen how Ouija was. It was not good. The prequel was okay. I liked it. But Ouija, the original, terrible. And we're gonna get a Magic 8 Ball movie, and it could be in the same style as Barbie. Like Barbie, Barney, and Hot Wheels. Barbie's good. I saw that. Barbie's good. Barney's actually sounds like it's going to be an interesting movie. And Hot Wheels as well. But, freaking, why do we need a Crazy Balloon movie?
It's called The Fast and the Furious.
No, like, with the Hot Wheels movie, they're actually turning it into, like, more of an actual drama rather than just pure action. And, Hot Wheels is much more cartoony, loop-the-loops and zigzags and stuff like that. There's fun to be had more of a Hot Wheels movie. I almost said Hot Wheels movie. Yeah, let's watch that Hot Wheels.
That's all of them. Let's head back into the city.
Let's head back into the city. And Miles, out of that list, what one sounds to the dumbest? The Masters of the Universe, of course, that's getting a movie too, and that's going to be pretty cool. If done right, and they're not doing the whole Barbie thing. Because Barbie, it's satire, kind of consumer culture and stuff like that. Very funny movie, because, it's just, it's just very, intelligent. They can't do that for every single Hasbro movie. Mattel movie. Hasbro, they got their own it's gonna be a cinematic universe too. Magic 8 Ball. I feel like Magic 8 Ball would have more plot than Christmas Balloon. Or Polly Pocket. Who asked for Polly Pocket? Or Christmas Balloon? And again, it's going to be a cinematic universe, too. I'm like, why? Because Hasbro, they're doing their cinematic universe because the friggin' new Transformers movie ended with the main character being accepted into G.I. Joe. Which they were going to do that like 10 years ago with the Michael Bay and the shitty G.I. Joe, Retaliation, Rise of Cobra, that garbage, and Battleship. Yeah, Battleship. Remember that? Oof. That was a movie. But that would have been a cinematic universe too. If Battleship was successful, then the crossover would have happened sooner. Although the new Transformers movies, Bumblebee and Rise of the Beast was pretty cool, and G.I. Joe Snake Eyes, it was solid. I liked it.
Damn it. Plank fell down.
I like Snake Eyes shockingly. Like, it wasn't bad, it was just fun.
Here, pass it to me.
And that's what, like, these new Hasbro movies are at least doing. At least they're making them fun, the new Hasbro movies. The old ones, like Transformers, Revenge of the Fallen, Dark of the Moon, Age of Extinction. What was the last one? The Last Night? And then, like, G.I. Joe, Rise of Cobra and stuff like that. And shit. And also fucking, Battleship. Oof. Those are sinkers. Bumblebee, yeah, Bumblebee. Like, Bumblebee actually got a positive critic score, and critics, it gave a a mixed score to Rise of the Beast, but it wasn't entirely rotten like the older movies. So, like the new Hasbro, and it was the same with Snake Eyes. It wasn't entirely rotten either. It was like a 50-50. So, like, Hasbro's got their shit right with movies now. Just make it fun. Just make it fun. If you're gonna make a movie based on a kid's toy, just make it fun. Like, don't shove all this filler or whatever. Cause like, Rise of the Beast, I saw that in the theater. That was less than 2 hours. 2 hours done. That's all you need. That's all you need. You don't need like 5-hour freaking build up to like one fight scene or whatever. Like, Transformers 4: Age of Extinction is like the worst movie I've ever seen because nothing happens the whole movie. Like, it's just watching Mark Wahlberg make faces and go like, like it's like Mark Wahlberg when he ate the pussy of his ex-wife. Did he have an ex-wife? I don't know. I think he did. He seems kind of like a douche, I'll be honest. But it's like he's making faces like he will when he's eating pussy and stuff like that. And like Optimus Prime occasionally says a word like, "Oh, Autobot, I need to go find them." Oh yeah. And then like the final fight is like barely even a fight because like the primal ones or whatever come in and they do nothing, and then there's like an old bald dude, and then they fight him, and then they throw him down a freaking bridge or something like that. Like, I don't know. I swear this was just the whole movie. That fourth one. The fifth one has Anthony. The fifth one terrible. Probably even worse. But at least there's like fighting and stuff like that, and Anthony Hopkins gives the finger to somebody, so that alone gets a point higher than the fourth one. Second one wasn't good either, but none of them are good. Like those first 5, those Michael Bay ones, none of them are good. We also live in a universe where a TMNT movie's coming out this week, and it has a 90-something score on Rotten Tomatoes. Like, people are actually really liking this new Ninja Turtles movie, which is bullshit because, they hate the 1990 movie, but that's literally the comic. So that's bullshit to me. And I feel like people are dick riding the new Ninja Turtles movie mainly because it has that goddamn Spider-Verse animation. Oh my god, you've only ever seen Ages, and that's the worst one. Like, I swear, like, come on, like, I'm right, ain't I? Like, nothing happened in that. Am I delusional?
Take cover!
Like, I don't know whether I'm insane or something, because I swear nothing happened. I've been considering rewatching both of them because terrible, brutal, gory. Got all some good old-fashioned gore. See, bloody. What's What's the worst movie you've ever seen, Miles? I'm kind of curious what the worst movie you've seen is. I'll be honest, people have been dick riding that Mario movie all year, and I didn't like it. Probably like one of my least favorite movies this year. That and that TV show Secret Invasion, or the new Ant-Man, or stuff like that. Terrible.
Over here, Joel.
Terrible.
More rockets, guys.
How do you know they're coming? Two of our guys died trying to take Tess out. Guaranteed that she's...
There's the Mario movie, like, none of it lands. Like,
Question. I'll have to get back to you on that one.
Spread out, make sure no one's creeping around.
yeah. It'll be interesting to hear. But yeah, that Mario movie, and what's kind of sad is it's actually a pretty accurate depiction of the games, but it doesn't work as a movie because there's no story. There's like nothing. Like, it is like one of the most bland movies I've ever seen. Like, it's like the Steven Seagal of animated movies.
He's down on Jordan Street. Only soldiers showed up with about 5 SEALs. All of them.
Let me guess. Firefighters.
Still refuse to see the Mario movie. No way that Charles Martinet should be entitled to voice the principal characters.
Well, Charles Martinet, he's actually in the movie. He's in the movie as Mario's dad and stuff like that. And he's actually, like, he's an okay voice actor, but his whole job is just to say a couple words, like, Mamma Mia, so long the gay Bowser, like, you know? He's never really done, like, full lines. He's never done, like, full lines or roles in games and stuff. Like, yeah, it's Steven Seagal of animated movies because it's so generic. But people love this movie. People, like, literally, like, wanted to, like, were reporting my match reporting this channel because I didn't like this movie. People have been mass reporting this channel because I don't like this movie. Critics don't even like the movie, and it's like got like a 58, I think, or whatever. But you know, like it's considered very mediocre because it is. It's very mediocre. Like, I could watch it and not be like offended. Like, I'm not gonna kill myself over it. That's true. That's true, like Willy's Wonderland. I don't know if you watched that. That was pretty good. There's one I think is going to be really interesting that's coming out. It's the Five Nights at Freddy's movie, based on the very recent... I almost said recent, but it's not. Five Nights at Freddy's isn't that recent. Like, the first game's turning 9 years old soon, but the movie sounds pretty good. Cool premise. Has a lot of fans appearing in it too. Like, YouTubers are in it. Well, the actual premise of it actually sounds okay. And I like the games, you know, good games. I wouldn't say, like, amazing games. Like, good horror games or whatever. Good take on Chuck E. Cheese gone bad. I know people are going to shit on that movie because they're going to be like, where's the lore? Because the games have a lot of lore. But the lore was all made up by fans. And then, like, basically thrown together or whatever, because fan theories. It was not meant to be taken seriously. It was just meant to be just a simple game. But now people have this icon worship.
A dangerous man that want to raise hell with decent.
Have I seen those? I don't remember them. I find it funny I've been optionally watching Steven Seagal. I don't know why. Well, I don't know. I know why I find it funny, but, you know, Under Siege is a classic. I think anyone can agree. Under Siege is pretty good. It's not great, but it's pretty good. And if I remember correctly, that was around the time when, like, he allegedly raped a fool. Allegedly. Not, of course, not confirmed. But, you know, considering how much trouble he gets in, it could be possible.
Let's go wrap this up.
But yeah, freaking Steven Seagal, man.
If only his older films were more easily accessible on streaming.
Either that or easily accessible to freaking buy. Nice and juicy blood. Yeah. Yeah, the TV show for this, it's really good. It's already gotten 27 Emmy nominations, which is like unfucking real. Because like zombie shows, well, it's zombies. I say in loose terms, but stuff to do like with loose hints of horror and violence and stuff like that. Usually that kind of thing doesn't get like Emmy nominated, but yeah, it is. And you know, it's very good. And I'd say go watch it. It's pretty good. It's only like 9 episodes, I think, or whatever. They're doing season 2, and I think season 3. There's 2 games, but the second game is like fucking 25 hours long, so it's like they gotta do like 2 seasons. First season kind of feels rushed near the end if you've played the game. Yeah. I mean, you're watching me play this game.
About 10 minutes until I ready myself for my walk.
Holy shit. I'm not sure. Declarations of a Madman got an age restriction today. I guess YouTube was just really mad at Declarations of a Madman.
We just want to talk, Robert.
Get fucking nothing to talk about.
Put your gun down.
Go fuck yourself.
He's running.
Robert.
Joel, this way. Come on, you're right in here.
But yeah, and I consider it an honor to get an age restriction, because it means that I am super profane.
Joel, this way. Hello, Robert.
Yes. No hard feelings, right?
None at all.
What's funny is the actors from this game are in the show as roles for like 1 episode each, but still like they appear. Except for this, the lady that voices this lady, she actually died of cancer recently, and she wasn't on the show. Guy that voices him and the guy that voices the little girl that comes later, they appear in the show.
Stop!
This guy is played by Pedro Pascal on the show, which is, I mean, dude just looks like him, so I'm like, perfect choice.
Excuse me. I didn't have much of a choice. I owed someone.
You owed us.
And that guy has also played, not Pedro Pascal, but the guy who voices Joel here. He's voiced the Joker for a couple things, and now that Mark Hamill's retired, he's basically the only Joker there is. And he's really good as the Joker, so I'm like, good replacement for Mark Hamill.
Just give me a couple.
Or is Pedro Pascal just a bit overrated?
Our guns.
How much Pascal stuff have you seen? Like, have you watched Last of Us, or, of course, Mandalorian, Kingsman, all that, like...
You're basically all day.
I personally don't think he is. I think he's actually a pretty shining actor and like with a lot of range and a lot of stuff nowadays. Of course, Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, where he plays Nicolas Cage's #1 fan. Like, whatever. Like, and he's gotten bigger recently because now he's getting main roles or whatever, and actually getting acknowledged for his acting. He's getting. I think he got like 2 Emmy noms just this year, one for Mandalorian, one for Last of Us. And even if like Mando loses, but like Last of Us wins, he still wins.
And a film with him as Ben Affleck in the jungle. It just seems that he's in everything.
Film with him and Ben Affleck. I don't remember what the fuck that one was. Well, he's in everything because, he's a pretty good actor. Mandalorian, of course, got really huge. He was in Game of Thrones, of course. But like, he's getting more of a fan base because he's been big on TV for a while. He's probably the hugest actor who was Chilean.
How many cards are we talking?
He's from Chile. Or Kyle, I don't know. I don't know what the whole place is called, but
You do that?
he's one of the biggest actors from there. Again, he has a very large range. And he's in everything lately because he just scored it big as a main role with stuff like Fargo. Was it Fargo? Or am I... No, sorry, Narcos and Mandalorian, now Last of Us. And, of course, appearing in big movies and stuff. So now he's scoring it bigger and bigger, and now he's getting more options for roles. Like, one of my favorite movies last year was a movie called Barbarian, and now he's appearing in the director's next movie, Weapons, as the first big name, because he's very careful with the scripts he picks, because if you look at his filmography, he generally picks pretty good movies, and pretty good shows, so he's very careful with the stuff he selects.
Now.
And, he's from the last 10 years. All the old stars are going to be going away and stuff like that. He's in his 30s, 40s, or whatever. So, like, he's, and if he did a couple more action movies, he'd be, like, the next big action star, honestly. If he did some more action movies. Oh, yeah, of course. Like Nicolas Cage, if you ever look at his filmography, he's actually pretty careful of what he picks. He picks something that fits his range, his dramatic range, his funny range, or his horror range, or whatever. And that's why a lot of his movies are pretty entertaining, because he picks the right stuff. I don't think he has a movie where it has a 0. John Travolta, that guy appears in anything. And Steven Seagal as well. And those guys' ranges are shit. And so they can't save a bad movie.
So why now?
People like Nicolas Cage or like even Pedro Pascal or Jim Carrey. Nicolas Cage. Well, Nicolas Cage, he now gets more jobs because, you know, he's a nostalgic actor. He's a nostalgic actor, and he appears in a lot of indie films or whatever, and he accepts a lot of indie movies. If you look at a lot of his recent indie career and stuff like that, a lot of it's actually been pretty well received, made money, made back its budget and its production cost, and generally getting like a good score or whatever. Like one of his recent films, Pig, you know, very lower budget movie, but like, you know, it got a 92, I think, on Rotten Tomatoes, you know, revenge movie of a guy that's trying to save his pig or whatever. You know, it's doing pretty well. And everyone knows Cage or whatever, but everyone enjoys Cage because he himself can bring a movie to screen, and he's still in big movies like Renfield. You know, it bombed in theaters, but it was a big movie. It was a big budget horror comedy with a lot of style that pays ode to Universal, but also modern horror. Really funny movie, too. Go watch it. And he's pretty good in the role. Now, people also forget that Nicolas Cage, he has a very good dramatic range, too, so... But he's also just cool, so he's in a lot of action because he's just cool. Willy's Wonderland.
About a month ago. It was basically John Wick as a treasure hunter.
Yeah, basically, it's like John Wick or Nobody or Sisu, or he's getting like an actual
You need to get that up.
John Wick kind of movie coming soon. The Retirement Plan, where he plays you know, a guy who's retired. He's like a beach bum or whatever, but people that know he was like an old hitman or whatever coming after him, and you know he's got a regiment. Mandy is a masterpiece. That is like Mandy and Color to Space and Willy's Wonderland are some of his good modern horror movies. Like Mandy, and I played Palos Cosmatos. I think he wrote Color to Space. He helped write it, or produce it anyways. It's very, very styled, just like Mandy. Mandy's cool, but I suggest you also watch Beyond the Black Rainbow, which was also directed by Palos Cosmatos. His father was George P. Cosmatos, who directed Rambo 2 and Cobra and Leviathan and stuff like that. You know, for hire movies. Really like Of Unknown Origin. Yeah.
I should probably get ready for my walk. Pleasure speaking with you, Joey. Cheers.
Cheers, mate. Cheers, mate, and long Alf returns. Hey. Anyways, I'll see you later, man. Enjoy your walk.
Keep him occupied.
Right
Right
here!
here.
Goodbye, friend.
We should go, Marlene. Bound to be more soldiers on the way.
You're right. Let's move. Much further now. Get inside. Where are we going then? This way. It's not far now.